Hi everybody and welcome back to my channel. Last week I shared a video which looked at some different swing trade ideas, and I shared my strategies behind those trade setups as well as the different pairs that I got into. Well, in this video I'm going to share with you an update on those swing trades that I got into last week, as well as some new swing trades and some live swing trading. So let's get right to it. Okay guys, so I've just loaded up my platform here that I have with the 5%ers. If you're new to my channel, this is currently a challenge that I'm taking with the prop firm, the 5%ers, where I have a challenge to reach both a monetary challenge and a pip target as well. And I've only just recently gotten back into this challenge, so I'm using very small lot sizes at the moment, and I'm focusing on my process and my techniques, and I'm looking to build them up over time. So in the video that I shared with you last week, I got into 4 different trades. Now I am actually currently still in 3 of those trades, and one of those trades has hit my stop loss. So let's look at that one first. So just go into my history here, and you can see the losing trade that I took was on New Zealand dollar to the yen. So I'm just going to pull a chart across just to have a quick look at that before we move on to the other pairs on watch. Now I did cover the trade idea, the strategy that I took this trade based on in my video last week, which looks very much at the overall trend of the market as well as different reaction legs here. So I was looking to take a position long on this. I set a buy limit around about this level here was when it got triggered, when price came down. As you can see, we did get a push up, and at one point in the trade here, I was around about 1.5R in profit. But as you can see, price came down and it hit my stop here before trying once again to reach the highs. So I just was ranging at this point, and obviously, as you can see, it didn't work out. So for this trade, this was just a -1R, which, as I said before, I'm using a very small lot size of 0.01. So this is a very small fraction of a percentage loss on the account, and I'm not too worried about that at all. It's just for me to keep track of my win rate and my profit and loss over a period of time, and then obviously as they are looking good, I can increase the lot size position for trades that I'm taking. Now moving on, the top 3 trades here that you can see that I am currently in. These are the 3 trades that I broke down the strategy for in the video last week for CAD Yen, Euro USD and CAD Swiss. Now at the moment I am just letting those trades run. I'm currently in all 3 of those trades. As you can see, for CAD Yen and Euro USD I'm currently quite nicely in profit, but I am aiming for quite a large target on those as well, so I'm just letting the trade do their thing. So that's CAD Yen and Euro USD. It's starting to come down quite nice. We had a couple of retests of where my entry was, and it looks like it's starting to make those lower highs now, and it's starting to break past the swing lows. So I'm hoping to get some movement down towards my profit target. The time I'm recording this is Thursday, so I am just leaving these to play out. But as it stands, my target for Euro USD is 3R, and that's the same for CAD Yen as well, so I'm risking 1 to make 3. Now as you can see, the other trade that I'm currently in, CAD Swiss, was another trade I got in last week, but that's actually currently in a red. But I'm not too worried about that because it's just broken past my entry, and I'm just leaving it to do its thing. Whether it's going to continue on up past the structural point to my stop, then that'll be that, and I'll just take that as a learning experience. But for now, I'm just going to leave the trade alone. And there's one more trade that I got into this week, which I'll share with you on the charts in just a moment, and that's on Australian dollar Swiss franc. Again, I've taken a short position here using a very small lot size, and at the moment it's currently nicely in profit, making its way towards my target. So let's have a look at Australian dollar Swiss franc. So as I said at the beginning of the video, this is using a swing trading approach to trading, so I'm looking to hold this for a longer period of time. Been using the 4-hourly chart for this because it just fits in a little bit easier with my lifestyle at the moment whilst I'm busy. Very useful if you also have a busy lifestyle, or if you're working full time but you want to also trade on the side. And for this chart here, I loaded up the 4-hourly and I just zoomed out just to get a nice overall view of the market, which, as you can clearly see, has been in a downtrend. We've been making lower lows and a lower high, a lower low and a lower high, which has got retested before making another low here. And what I was interested, just zooming into more recent price action, is that price actually came back up and it seemed to retest this previous lower high level. Now we did actually break this. If I just drag this line across, you can see we did break this, but we consolidated around a little bit and price didn't seem to hold this level. It dropped down, it came up to retest this level, and it continued to drop down. So for me, I took that as a sign of weakness, that this structure in the market was seeming to hold and that we might get a continuation of the downtrend. And once I'd established that that was my plan, I drew this green line here to represent last buyers, because we seem to get support from this level for buyers, because obviously there was a chance that it was going to push up and break through this structure here. But as we broke this green level and then retested this, couldn't quite break this and dropped some more, that was when I decided to set a sell limit. So I set my sell limit roughly around this point here. It was earlier in the week and price did drop down before coming back up to enter me into this trade. It retested that level again and then it broke down, lower down, breaking the previous low here. So at the moment we seem to be establishing the downtrend again, which is really nice, and I'm just leaving it alone. I've set a 60 pip stop loss here just above the highs, and I'm looking to make 4 times what I'm risking. So I'm looking to make 240 pips. But as price moves down, if it moves down, I will kind of reassess this, whether I need to trail a stop just to try to manage the risk on this trade. One thing that I am aware of that you might see is this yellow line here, and I've just been measuring the swing length. So I've taken this length here of this swing and I've applied it to the high here. And I've done that just to keep an eye on it, because if we do get some sort of resistance at this level, it could be a potential resistance point where price might not drop lower. So I'm just left that in there just to keep an eye on. And I've also used this Andrews fork, which can be really useful to just gauge the sine wave, the flow of price, because as we know, price does move in waves. So it's in this instance here, we're basically getting this sort of rough idea of the movement of price as we're making lower lows and lower highs in this downtrend. And all this fork is doing is I've placed it on the previous swing high, to the low, to where I'm at, and then it plots this fork, and it can be really useful to help gauge either targets or stops, and to try to predict the sine wave movement of price. I won't go too much into it here, and it's a lot of the techniques that I've been learning with my mentorship with the story of price, which I'll include a link below if you're interested in finding out more about that. But that's where I've learned a lot about the Andrews fork here. And basically the idea is that price will generally try to retrace or stick to this median line, the middle line here. So at the moment we are hugging this top line, and the general theory is it's another added confidence to use to gauge and analyze price action, to show that price has got a very high probability that it's going to drop to retest this middle line, which is in confluence with this reaction leg measurement, and that's where I've set my target. So once again, I've just set that on my broker here with a hard stop in place and a hard take profit. It's currently in profit and I'm just going to leave it alone. It might take a while to either move up or down, so we'll see. Now as you can see, I did have 3 other trades that I placed. One of them Australian dollar USD. I actually placed that and covered the strategy for that in my video last week. And just having a quick look at this chart, since I placed my sell limit, which was around about here, although price, as you can see, did pretty much do what I thought it might do. We got the drop and then we got the push up. It didn't come high enough up to trigger my sell limit order, unfortunately. So price has started to swing lower as per what my trade analysis was, but it's gone without me. It's looking like it might be one of those missed trades. I'm going to just leave my order open at the moment and keep an eye on this, because there's still a chance that it might push up and retest this area. And I don't want to be too quick to cut my order there, because I am still trusting this plan. So I am leaving that active. 2 more trades that I did look at taking this week was on Euro Yen and Euro AUD. But once again, they seem to be taking off without me. So let's have a quick look at Euro Yen. So here is the 4-hourly chart that I analysed on Euro Yen at the beginning of the week. Now, as you can see, this is, I guess it could be a frustrating trade, but I think what I'm finding the beauty of using the larger time frames is it does really help with the emotions. And you know, looking at this, I could get annoyed that I missed this because it's hit my target, but it is what it is, and you can't change that. You can just learn from it. So the idea behind this trade, similar to the one I just showed you before, is that we've been in this downtrend. I marked my swing lows and my swing highs just to establish that we were definitely in a downtrend. I also had this red trend line drawn on, which is the trend line that marks the daily level here. You can also see it on the 4-hourly, and you can see that it matches up quite nicely there. So I thought that once we got a pullback to this trend line, that we may get some reaction and it might start to drop and resume its downtrend. Zooming into current price action, so it's similar. Once again, I've marked the higher structural point here because there was still a chance that we might break up and break out and change into an uptrend. And I marked with this green line here where there seems to be strength for the buying side. So as price was coming down here, we were getting a lot of buyers coming in to try to retest the structure. But once we got this large bearish candle break and we started to drop, that was when I thought this looked like it could be a really good trade. Now, I didn't actually see that until after this point here. So where my trade forecast is here is where I actually set my sell limit. So as I said before, it was at the beginning of the week on Monday the 13th. Now, this is where it does potentially get a little frustrating, as you can see there, I had a sell limit set at 130.20 and price literally came up and tapped my order. It must have just been a couple of pips off, and I don't totally understand why I didn't get in, because if I load up Euro Yen on the platform here, the spread's pretty good. It's quite tight. It's not like I had massive spreads. So I think it's just one of those unfortunate moments that price did come up, came to the area where I was looking at, but I didn't get into this trade. For whatever reason, it didn't trigger me into this trade. And since then, it's just dropped nicely, and it's dropped straight down to where I was looking for a target. So I had the right idea. It was a smaller target. I was looking to risk 70 pips to make 140 pips. And as of today, if that had triggered me in, it would have been a nice winner, but it is what it is. And this is just another missed trade, but another learning opportunity. And once again, I did use the Andrews fork here just to mark the sine waves and just to help gauge where price might come back to. So it might get some reaction around this medium line, it might bounce back up, or it might break it and it might continue down. I'm going to just keep an eye on it. At the moment, I'm leaving this order in. If we do get a bounce off this median line and maybe it'll come back up to retest this area, then I might look at that next week to potentially bring my order down, maybe look into getting short just a little bit lower down, but I'll see. And finally, the other trade that I looked to get into this week and I set an order for on the Monday was Euro Australian dollar. This was actually for a buy limit, and once again the trade has gone off without me, so let's have a very quick look at those charts. So once again on the 4-hourly time frame here, I've just basically established that we've been in this uptrend. We've been making a higher swing high there, higher low, higher high, higher low. We seem to have retested this area, so I've added the structure block here. We've got a retest once, twice, and 3 times here. But each time we got the retest, we seem to move higher up. So I was seeing that there was a lot of strength to the upside. So zooming in a little bit more, like I said, I set this forecast around about this time on Monday morning GMT. And I used the Andrews fork again just to mark the sine wave, the low and the high, current price here, to just establish the flow that price might take. So my thinking was that from this point here, we'd made a potential new higher low, and then price came down and it made this little retest there. Now that for me was confirmation that it was starting to shift higher, and it was after then that I set my buy limit here. I thought we might get another retest of this level combined with the Andrews fork, and then I was looking for price to basically just continue moving up and maybe get a retest of this medium line or break past this swing high here. So I think I had the right idea, because as you can see, price did come back down to retest, but unfortunately it just didn't come down enough to trigger my buy limit. So at this point at 159,850, that's where my order was sitting. So if price came down, it would trigger my entry and buy me into the market. But price did come down, but just not enough. So unfortunately this trade has gone without me. But I'm going to just leave this up again, just as a learning experience, to see if I had the right idea for this trade, if it would have worked, and to try to see what I could have done better. Maybe I'm being too cautious, I could have got in sooner. So I'm just going to leave it on watch, just to keep an eye on next week as it unfolds. Couple more swing trades that I was watching this week, but I don't feel like they're ready just yet. One was on New Zealand dollar, US dollar. So I was looking this for a potential short, although I don't think it is quite clear just yet as to what price is going to do. So what I did for this is I zoomed out just to see that we were in this downtrend here, and I've marked this previous pullback, and I've taken that level and I've applied it to current price action. And at the moment we seem to be at the exact same point where price pulled back to before it dropped lower, so I felt like this might be a good place in the market to get short. But as you can see, recent price action has been in this uptrend, so I'm waiting to see a shift in price where it's clear that price is going to be coming down rather than going up, because obviously I don't want to get in too soon and then get caught out in a stop unnecessarily. So what I've done here is I've applied this structure level to the highs, just so that I can see where price is waiting to cross or not. And again, at the bottom, we're just in this range at the moment. And I'm just basically waiting for a strong break of the range to the downside, a little retest, and then if I can get in, or if I do miss it, I will set a sell limit for perhaps saying there's a retest there to get short. Once again, I will use the Andrews fork, just measuring these sine waves here to try to gauge an idea on a target. But I've not set any order for this yet. This is something that is just taking a little bit of time to set up, and maybe we'll see a move next week. Alternatively, it obviously has the chance of breaking the highs and shifting its direction, so I'm going to keep that on watch. I think that's it for me for today, guys. I hope that you've enjoyed this video. If you have, be sure to hit the like button below, and if you're not subscribed, make sure that you subscribe to the channel. If you've got any comments or any trade ideas that you want to share, maybe you've traded some of the same pairs as me this week, be sure to let me know below. It's always great to hear from you. And I will catch you in my next video. Thank you. Bye.